because I really wanted to speak on the connection between these train heists real quick before we get out of here. So in 2024, to summarize what went down over there, basically Memphis, pretty much it was an organized scheme. It was definitely a RICO type investigation. It was definitely a RICO type case because in Memphis, Tennessee, the distribution center, there was one guy. I think his name was Roy Lee Harvey. Sounds like a Western bandit. Sounds like a somebody who rolled around and was being chased by a freaking whatever the dude's name from the Western movies. It seemed like somebody who maybe was a 1960s assassin. I don't know, man. Roy Lee Harvey was a dude who actually worked in the Nike Memphis facility. Now check this out. Sophisticated system. They had people who actually worked at Nike who had access to limited unreleased pairs of sneakers. They had somebody at UPS to intercept and deliver packages to the wrong places. They had people, within different parts of the distribution and process to get shoes. They put a fraudulent label over the shoe label that was being shipped out, and that product went to a business in Los Angeles that was connected to this guy Roy Lee Harvey and delivered to a house or some type of building that was rented or owned by him. So LAPD does an investigation, but only after two Nike employees who is loading I'm going to assume a USPS, a United States Postal, a federal vehicle. So basically a federal semi truck docks at Nike in Memphis to be loaded. The driver waits in the truck. The Nike employees are loading the product. They're doing their job. And they notice that instead of the USPS, the United States Postal Service, which is how they shipping all these packages because they're loading it in their truck, they notice that a fake label for UPS, the brown truck, UPS, is covering the actual label that's on the shoe. Okay, so they report it. They do their job. They honest. They don't want to lose their job over some fuck shit that somebody else is doing. They report it. Nike, who's taking big losses over products being stolen, not just them, but other sneaker stores got scumbags too, who's stealing products. So next thing you know, Nike actually does an internal investigation and tracks those packages all the way back to LA. And in return, because of the volume and the frequency of this happened, because these employees, I don't know if it's the same employees who were loading the Nike truck in Memphis, they caught that on several occasions. So Nike does an investigation internally, and the results of the investigation led to Roy Lee Harvey. It led to a business called, I think, RHJ Global Sneakers out of LA, and also an apartment out of LA or some type of building. So Nike passed all this information over to LAPD's Commercial Criminal Investigations Unit. I think I got that right. They end up doing an investigation. They found products. They make arrests. They include that people at a business called Project Blitz, they even connect the owner, but the owner is not charged. Maybe because he has no involvement, or maybe because he has put different layers of people to be arrested before him. I don't know. But I don't believe he was ever charged. That's quite different than what happened with CoolKicks. And to be honest with you, I don't know how sophisticated the investigation is definitely sophisticated, because we saw $104 million worth of stuff being recovered through a single person being arrested at a residence in LA several days after the CoolKicks arrest was made, right? The CoolKicks CEO was arrested. So it's a twist. It's definitely different than this, but you can definitely see that when this went down, the Fall Guys were taken into custody, but it looks like this train robbery continues, and it ain't gonna stop because I'm sure somebody replaced them. They getting money, and they finding somebody else to sell, so another business to sell products to. Now, clearly the police department, clearly the police over in LA, CoolKicks LAPD, um, clearly the clearly the owner here at CoolKicks knew something because they didn't arrest the owner from Project Blitz, but they arrested the owner from CoolKicks. So, as I said, they got rid of the product. They keep doing the heist. They keep doing the burglaries, the robberies. They whatever you want to call it. They kept committing the crimes, and they keep offing the products. And as you can tell, they threw him in jail, but they ain't throw the other guy in jail. So it just seems that it's just different. It's just different, man. Y'all let me know in the chat, man. We definitely gonna have to keep following up on this Cool Kick situation. But it's interesting to see that there are a lot of similarities on, from what we can tell, how the investigation is unfolding. We haven't seen, or I haven't seen any official reports yet, but the 23rd of October is when he has his first court case, and I think it's his first hearing. And it's going to be interesting to see if we get any documents, any reports that can give us a better insight on exactly what's happening with the investigation. But y'all let me know in the chat, man. Do y'all think that these two operations, I'm talking about from a criminal, you know, conspiracy operation, do you think that they're running their, they going through the motion of how they get these shoes and how they off these shoes? Do you think it's changed from Project Blitz to Cool Kicks? Because to me, it seemed like there's a lot of similarities. It probably is different players, but the players probably know each other because somebody just replaced it. It wasn't like, they cut off the tail and, you know, the whole thing, the whole operation, the whole scheme fell apart. No, man, another tail grew back. Like basically somebody just replaced Roy Lee Harvey, and they keeping it moving. But yeah, I would love to hear y'all thoughts on that, man. I just wanted to chop it up real quick about this. Definitely make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, man. Let me know your thoughts down in the chat.